What's up, everyone? Thought that I would reiterate somewhat of what's been going on as of late. A few bedtime stories, if you will. Growing up, I've slept in many a bunk bed over the years, both, in a household, on the road, boys camp, whatever else, intense, under the stars, on a tarp, on the trampoline, laying in parallels, not necessarily one on top of the other or whatever. But story time is an integral part of those experiences. And in the age that I am in now, it's like, who do I have to tell stories to? It's like everybody my age, obviously has gone down such an extremely different road than myself. So the one that I have stories to tell to is a Logitech HD 1080p. So just trying to, utilize my free time in a way that I feel allows me to still express some of those things that I've grown up doing in a way in which, I don't know, maybe other people enjoy. If they don't, maybe to be like my younger brother who, when I started telling a story, he'd just be like, shut up, go to sleep, man. So, and if you want to say that in chat, go for it. But it's not going to break my heart because I grew up with it. And it was much more close and personal. So some words on a monitor aren't going to hurt me more than someone being physically there tragically breaking my heart every night. If a tree falls in the woods, I already said this one. It's on one of my last videos. Move on. Move on to the next one. Yada, yada, yada. Yada. Superman visits the chiropractor. Alright, so here we go. This is the forefront of my storytelling. This is where I'm at. I think that I've uploaded everything heretofore until this point in time. No one yet has heard of the tale when Superman visits the chiropractor. "What's up, Doc?" Soup said as he walked into Dr. Medlin's office. "How are you doing, Mr. Super?" the doc said. "Good, other than something must be off if I'm here in your office." "Quite so," said the doctor. "Let's get to the bottom of what you're feeling so we can put your train back on track. Speaking of train tracks, do you feel that any of your railroad ties are out of place in any way? And before you answer that, could you step up here to my pin displacement pad?" "Sure, Doc. Whatever you say. My life is in your hands." "Well, as much as I love the flattering gesture, there are many docks on the tour of life. Let us just hope that your visit to mine is one of good spirits towards your fulfillment. So what am I supposed to do on this device? And let me know when you're ready for my answer to your question." "All right, Mr. Super, let's get you comfortable here, and then we'll let the surgical tools of conversation commence." So this is pretty much a larger than life version of those little toys that you put your hands on. And due to the displacement of the pins, we see an image of whatever displaced them on the reverse. Now, of course, think about the progress that you have come through in your life up until this point, and apply those same advancements to that little toy. And here we have it. Wow, pretty nifty, Doc. Yes, quite so, Mr. Super. Or would you prefer me to call you Mr. Kent rather than your pen name? You are welcome to call me whatever you want, as long as you retain your doctor-patient privacy agreement. Good then, Clark. Then it will only be Lex and I. It might be nice to have someone good know who you are for a change. So, let me hear the answer to that question I posed to you earlier. Well, more than any physical discomfort, I have had a few troubling things on my mind as of late. Well, Clark, in this office, the mind is as important as the body, and we use the two together to gain a greater understanding and healthy balance of both. Now, before we begin, and because this is pertinent, the fact that this is an office under such precepts means that unlike going into another for simple means of surgery, the surgery here will be one in which, unlike having a dramatic change take place over the course of a few hours, trying to collapse and line up a story of study from a lifetime into another's book at the right chapter, here the surgery is one that takes time, and unlike taking your circle in mind and trying to match our movement between the two fighter jets so that the pins can be pulled and buttons pushed to fire upon our lining them up, this is rather a surgery that, as words sink in and physical interaction and environment heightens their meaning, your actions change, altering the structure of your body over time, from the microscopic to the macroscopic, where the bodybuilder is receiving prolonged surgery over a very lengthy amount of time that results in change, which is what surgery is. Only eye-opening due to the perceived shortness of it, though really, is waking up at the end of the dream better than at the beginning? So, just imagine then that this device is something very similar to the one that you would use at the gym, so you could be stable enough to isolate your movements and push more than you could if you weren't held in place. That way we can get a very accurate reading of your spine covering the book we are just barely beginning to write. But before we can write anymore, we must know how to give the book greater life by where it's come. So take off your shirt and hang it up over there, and I'll let you strap yourself in. I like the way you put things, Doc. It makes me feel much less like I am in an office of medicine full of sterile smells and prodding mechanisms. Well, Clark, in my practice, it's all about relating the equipment and the choosing of them to the individual within appropriateness of situation and purpose of practice, along with a whole host of other philosophies that I can only say I hope to come through without mention. Anyways, let me know when you are all set and we'll begin. All right. I think that I've got everything up to your standards, Doc. What next? I'm just going to push a few buttons and let the machine work its magic. And when it's all done, it will lock itself into place, and we will be able to look at and feel the contours of your spine by both hand and eye right here so that we can see if anything is out of place. Now, in the meantime, I couldn't help but notice the sigil on your shirt. Could you tell me a little bit about that? Well, of course. On my planet, it is a symbol of hope. On your planet, Clark? What is your planet? Is it not this one? Well, I of course have a home here that I am very fond of, but at times I feel at odds with this place being so different and capable where others aren't. Clark, space is a funny thing. I mean, what is this planet anyways? And any for that matter, but a collection of others as they break apart and reform. We only name it for a period of time, being described as such, until through revolution it has changed so much that we no longer feel comfortable calling it what we did. So we call it something we feel more fitting, like the universe is this vast ball of space rippling with this excitement of change and experience, doing its best to describe what it is so that it can relate to it through words and communication. I see no reason why, according to this, your world, or at least a part of it, can't be here, and this planet still be whole. Connecting with this far-off place that is the beyond the mundane, calling to your heart for its majesty and bewilderment, a place of constant change and intrigue, for you to feel the dream daily, while being grounded in something that allows this place of chaotic crystalline energy to be just that. For without this grounding, it's either one or the other that will be normalized. So the choice of which is up to you. Anyways, the machine has done its work. How did you feel? Quite nice, to be honest. Is there more to it? Well, unstrap yourself, and we'll let the image reflect your spine in a way that allows you to look upon and feel its surface from another angle. You can put your shirt back on now. I'll get the texturized 3D model in order while you do that. Okay, here we go. Come over here and fill this. And I'll have a few more questions to ask you while we do so. Alright, so what am I feeling for? Nothing. I want you to treat this as if you were simply stretching and rubbing your own back, but with the intent to see what all those vertebrae actually did, and the fascination of their compilation. I am simply here acting as a mirror, though a mirror that allows you to feel and see what it reflects before you, giving you a better angle to take a look. Now, also, don't try and overdo it or make more out of it than it has to be. For me, as an example, I write a lot, and when I finish a page, I feel the impression of the words on the other side of the paper, until by seeing everything a little backwards, and just how maybe there is more to their impressions, and how they feel to my fingers being characters of meaning. What does then this feeling mean? For it is the same characters upon looking at them, and my eyes give me feeling through recognition of the mind. But what form of understanding is there through feeling them in a different way, though the same, so different? Anyways, that aside, we'll just leave this up here, and you are free to do whatever you want in this room, even leave if you want. But I do have a few more things I would like to talk to you about before you do. Really? The appointment is over? Not exactly. I just say you can leave if you want, to bring your awareness that you don't have to sit here looking at this spine, but as a level above, just simply giving you option to roam the room, as a set of parameters to allow this discourse to unfold in a manner that is as unprofessional, almost as if I'm pretending to be a doctor, and this is all fake, so we don't have to stick to those aspects, while retaining enough pressure for there to be stimulating and in-depth discussion. For you see, that is my purpose for this visit, to discuss a matter with you more than anything. And as the gun matches the design and its ability to hit its target, and for a gun to be drawn upon, a schematic, a target of a sort has prompted its conception. You have found your way into my office. Okay, so by the way, you are talking now. Should I perceive this place as a coffee shop more than a place of healing? Quite so, Clark, for what is more healing than conversation? Your sigil on your shirt is of great interest to me. You say it is one of hope, but to me many things mean many things. But then again, this thing is telling me it means hope through the mouth of the one who wears it. So allow me to tell you what I see, and why this might mean hope to you. At first sight, I see what appears to be a diamond, which is a very hard aspect, demanding attention and wearing to those who have a desire to be found and explored. While then within this rigid structure I see a curvature. Then the image itself takes upon another shape within my mind. Through relation I see Da Vinci's box, where the circle breaks its bound, as if the box has its time until reason enough is given for the direct current and transpiration of events to be broken, for they have become broken. This then applied to your sigil, the curvature of the S, something that we don't look for in a spine. But what is a spine? But a thing that holds things together, like pinning a thing so that it can know and be known, where the spine can be straight while even being curved, given enough time for a concept to be grasped, as it is wrestled with on the mat, an event that when viewed as anything but straight through all the twists and turns of the two competitors, where ultimately a grand show takes place that allows something to eventually be held, even though the course of its becoming held was one of many quick turns. Anyway, Soup, that's all I wanted to get at. You're free to bust on out of here anytime. I'm going to go and start the day after sitting down and writing for what seems like all day already. And that is the story of Superman visiting the chiropractor. Oh man, I laugh during it because it's like I'm reminded of like saying stories like this all growing up, and then people were just like looking at me like, what the? Oh man, it's too funny. Oh well, at least I can laugh at myself because there's no one watching this. So, yeah. Makes me think about a thought I had earlier today. It's like, what if there was something that no one could look at? Because if they did, their realities would collapse. It's like, are there things that should be famous, but the reason they're not famous is because if they were well known, then ultimately things would cease to be? Anyways, our story begins with two brothers, Romulus and Remus. Humans, though born of something which no one knows, found in the wilderness, picked up by a pack of wolves, and raised as such, being taught by the Alpha. Though even the Alpha obeys the law that lets Alpha be so, where only the fit survive, but for Alpha to be, the treatment of the pack allows there to be one. Raised in such a state, Romulus and Remus found themselves always in competition with one another, each striving to be like the Alpha they both looked up to. One day, while off on the hunt, Romulus and Remus, who always ran side by side, were given instruction to skirt the edge of a mountain, to make sure that the prey they stalked didn't flee up over its rim upon the chase being initiated. Having been a part of many hunts, though still learning, and understanding that the law of the pack demanded they learn only while doing, for nothing was wasted in such a place, even time, to allow them to live where they did. Climbing up its slope, they found its ascent dizzying. Being on the spine, they hold their position until they received cues enough to know that their movement was needed. Waiting patiently also demanded their attention, for if one were to wander even while waiting, the chance to survive would escape you, as it passed you by while you were lost. In this, they did perfectly, being aware of every movement, so as to never lose sight of movement. So, in tune were they, that a small twig was heard crashing, and they both looked toward its direction, seeing a deer move within its point of origin. The two looked at each other, and Romulus got a wild look in his eye, and began moving towards the deer in crouched position. Remus, knowing that this wasn't the prey the pack was after, grabbed Romulus's tail by his mouth, and Romulus, being so entranced by the demands of the hunt and the pressures of their life with the pack, turned and nipped Remus. Remus, letting go, looked at Romulus and said, "Romulus, you know that this isn't our prey, and that the two of us wouldn't be able to bring it down, even if we did pursue, let alone you alone. And then we'll be doing the pack a disservice, as we all will lose out in your fleet of fancy." Romulus looked at Remus, and sounded as though he had lost his mind, for he said to Remus that he could bring down the deer all his own, with or without the help of Remus, and the pack. "How else does Alpha become Alpha?" he said. "Romulus," Remus said, "you're dreaming. Not even in your wildest dreams could you bring down that deer alone, or with the pack in the position it is now." Romulus looked at Remus and said, "Watch me," and began his pursuit of the prey, Remus close on his tail. Remus loving his brother, and knowing that this action would only result in failure and possibly the loss of Romulus's life, as such actions by the pack are not taken lightly, where his being punished could result in an untimely death, being not allowed to have good relations with the rest of its members was the first step toward a member's demise that Remus had witnessed before. Remus then took action against his brother's disobedience and stood in his way. Romulus growled. Heart racing, he jumped on Remus and went for his neck with his bite. Remus, seeing this, closed the gap between his neck and mouth, blocking Romulus's grasp underneath Romulus. Remus then went for Romulus's neck, but Romulus jumped off of Remus, and the two began to circle each other, looking into each other's eyes, each with a fire, where words were only wasted, as each knew once one opened their mouths, the other would move in. Remus, so focused on defending himself from Romulus, with the intent of not letting his brother leave on obviously misjudged route, along with the intent to do no harm to his brother, who would surely act against all of these things, and perhaps it was all this thought floating around in the mind of Remus, while trying to act on this thought, that led to what happened next. For Remus tripped over a loose root and fell, and upon this happening, Romulus jumped in and put his mouth around the throat of his brother and finished him quickly. Knowing then that an expedient amount of energy had been expended upon this fight, he had to go and catch prey on his own. For going back to the pack, he would be judged according to all of this, and while his temper still raged, he left in pursuit of the prey that had caused the turmoil. Knowing that he would have to find this prey, or it was his own end, having burned his bridge from returning, and knowing that time was of the essence, for soon without nourishment he would be over, knowing that his best chance of survival was to leave his brother's body rather than eat it, for in so doing the pack would surely come across him in the process, as a scout was sent their way after they had caught the prey they were after, or missed it, or if the prey actually went their way like had been thought. Anyways, it was all fear that motivated Romulus now, from what he had done, and the fear of survival and what it was going to take to survive, the weight of his brother's body on his mind, and he knew that he couldn't carry it any longer if he were to survive, and must hope that he find prey far away from all of this, that anyone fearing for their own survival, who would judge him to his death, pursue not for their own flight from fear to survive. He knew nothing but to run, and had dilemma in the knowledge that he needed to eat and find a place suitable enough for him, that it would carry his head until over into the morning of his eyes closing. For in running, he was the prey, and not the predator, and he knew he would have attention not for the silence needed to capture prey on the move like this. Motivated by these two needs, Romulus ran with his eyes and ears open, hoping to hear and see while hoping to not hear and see what he feared. He ran until he knew not where he was, and until he knew that if he was to stop, his legs would not start. Going so far, he was exhausted so much as to know not what to think, not what to believe in, and he took one last step before his legs gave out, and it was as if he felt the earth shake and ripple. Upon his becoming stone, laying there with enough to peer through cracks in his eyes, he saw a carcass from a deer who had died that was not yet of disgust from the earth. He opened his mouth and began to eat. When his waking came, Romulus couldn't help but feel thought like never before, where such mercy he felt was bestowed upon a thing that should no longer be, and allowed to even have the time to think, a luxury never known to him before. He questioned everything, even the morning, and the words he used to describe them, like the wake, a ripple from where he fell, coming back to him that then raised him up. These thoughts were with him long enough until he knew that if he wished to have thought later on, he must again lose thought. I'll be right back. Well, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their own. Obviously, you take all this and gauge who the man is. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so, like, obviously, if this is a personality that you wish to,
Oh, it's too weird. There's the flowers. That's cool. What is that? A law in Turkey? Hey, well, I'm glad you enjoyed your bar, so.
yeah, no, I really did. I was like, I'll make this into something neat.
No, no, no.
Good night, Jess. Love you. All right. Anyways, that's life. This is a live stream, which means that there are things going on right now. The door was knocked on. But it really doesn't matter, because no one's watching this. Who is this for, even? It's not even for me. I don't watch my videos. Who's it for? It's for no one. Which is what we'll get to in just a minute after we finish the tale of Romulus and Remus. Okay, these thoughts were with him long enough until he knew that if he wished to have thought later on, he must again lose thought, and think about how to live, where now having this thought was lost was as frightening as losing life when thought was not present. Romulus grew and lived according to these means, thinking about all of this when he thought he could afford the time, and what he thought was about all of this, and why even he did what he did, and what it all meant. For Romulus was driven that day from the pack by what? And what was the deer but something new, and Romulus wished to break the bounds of what he knew, so he could know more. Having that deer found before him made him question what he had been taught, and the rules of survival. For what credit could he take for having survived that day? And could he even claim what was alpha in the knowledge of this? For what was of his own doing? Looking back to his pack that he once knew, now knowing that for him to even have the feeling of being free from its grasp, he needed its grounding nature and loved it for it. Romulus, by then having found more of his likeness and having enough to look up to his words, shared what he thought should be shared, when, calling the founding of the Church of Rome to be announced, and each of its followers to don on the wool of the wolf, for the comfort of its provision, in the sight of what truly is out there. Romulus had remorse, but truly missed what he didn't have, and that was Remus. The last to leave. How is the unliving born into life? What does that even mean exactly? Where death is so stale that it doesn't even stink, but instead takes smell. How is anything born of this place? And in being the last to be born, what still exists to tell? Which is growth of a sort upon a surface that only looks like it has nothing, for all that it has. Who can hold this place up? Lumini asked rhetorically to the children surrounding her as she spoke. They sat at the base of a giant stone sculpture, overgrown for its age, eyes closed, facing the direction of the rising sun, half knelt with open palms beneath a face carved with tears. When during the rain overflowed out of the pools in its hands and down the body, water like the lifeblood. It's Confucius, said one of the children excitedly, having heard this story before, feeling proud to know the answer. Lumini reached up as if to grab something out of the night sky between the ever so slight separation between her fingers, held this point out to her captivated audience, and then tossed it into the fire. Continuing then the story, those who were then knew not what more there was, and they had grown so tall that their roots were no longer able to give water to their branches above. There was one among these giants who had grown taller than the rest, and in his flight from the ground was also the most dry, for nothing could reach his peak. So great was his reach that even the clouds were scattered around him, unable to connect in a mass of form, for when looking up from where he began, he looked like a column that connected earth and sky with no end in sight. Having become so dry, the great being had little movement. When there came one day a great sadness among these giants, for they felt that their spirit was leaving, having no more room for life, as if they had soaked up all life had to give, and life was about to be no more. This feeling traveled through the roots of these trees, and each felt the great sorrow that was about to come, the great tree feeling it the most, and being so great it began to shiver, and in its shaking a limb from its high place cracked and fell as this feeling traveled up and into its breath. Being so large and dry, as the limb fell it struck the tree's width, and when the branch had reached the ground a fire had amassed. As the limb cracked and sparked, it looked as if figures were forming out of the crevasses forming from the release of pressures. Smoke began to rise out of these depths, and the smoke swirled up and scattered light and color through it. Looking then at this scene, like peering through a lens of magic, the collection of these parts moved as if blown by the figure they were. All the giants looked down upon this sight, and were greeted with a warmth unknown as the spirit told them of his name. From that day, Confucius climbed each tree and brought warmth to their peaks, giving each limb water enough to feel alive. To this day, some still speculate as to whether the great tree's branch fell from accident or as a gift to those who looked up to it. The air of man. For what is air but air? For air houses so many that at its core it is broken. Like what air? For in water, what air is there? Look at what lives in what air. It is airless. Being of nowhere, it is of no air itself, for in having no air of your own, you challenge the throat, but are instead the throne that all sit upon, for you are a structure that allows a breath, rest, rather than force your air. Being so nerdy, you are the air that allows everyone to take a fresh breath of air. While the nerd errs on the side of caution, not knowing there truly is no air. For like the cycles of genius, for which none are not, genius is only a reminder of air, having so much air, in fact, that who shares air in that space? For the air of genius is like what air? Being liquid for all that take a drink, while they know not what air is, for if they did, it would not be water. Loved for their air, but repelled by their air. The air of man is perfect until it's perfect, for then there is no air, or here, nowhere. Yeah. And this is for no one, obviously. Not even me. I mean, yeah, it's nice sitting here talking to myself because, you know, if I look back onto the days of my early storytelling, I guess that it was for me in a sense because it's helping me fall asleep. Sitting here and telling these stories, you know. And it's like, oh man, I want to write on so much. And it's like, I continually write on something, but in a different way. It's like, I've written so much on Bible stuff. And I was going to make a reference earlier about, you know, no one can see the great circle because as soon as someone sees the circle, then it's squared type of thing, right? So it's like all of that. And it's like I have so much of this just buried away that it's ridiculous. And it's like I wanna do more on like the Bible, which is like by the bull, you know? And the bull, the minotaur, the freaking you know? The freaking bib, the overall for the baby, trying to make everything a little baby. The minotaur of freaking terror, you know? That's the bull. That's the Bible. And it's like, I went to this restaurant the other day, and I was sitting there with my Kimosabe, right? And he's sitting there telling me these stories of these bullfighters, and like, I'm like looking at this guy, and his dress and his garb while he's fighting this bull, and I was like, that's a cactus. That dude is a straight up cactus. He's like shoving these spines in this bull, and it's all like just amazing and fascinating to me. You know, because it's like I'm viewing things from so many angles. It's like these things are frozen when I'm like walking around in this place, and then it's like, but at the same point in time, there's so much movement of these things. And it's like, what actually captures an essence of something and plants it in a spot for a time, but it's in a ring for a time and has these witnesses which are cheering on its growth, you know? And then it becomes this landmark in a scene for all these things, right? And when does it move beyond the ring and become a part of a greater ring, you know? There's this picture in my room that has like all these cacti on it, too. So like there are many ways to like fight the bull, like capture the bull, you know? And you can also get hit by a bullet. That missionary, man. Oh, that meat. The metal. The metal of that meat, hombre. So many conversations. And it's like, there's like this light of like seeing things from all these perspectives and trying to relate the order of their movements with all of their movements, and for the times in which they're standing still, and for the times in which they're in observance, for the times in which they're listening, in which they're speaking, and in which we see them alive or non-living, you know? And when it's or Minotaur. Eight ore. When the ore is something that eats and has life itself, we say these things are non-living. But if we just open our eyes, then we realize there's much more to the Minotaur. I don't know what, it's like I'm just looking into another mirror. This is just a mirror. And it's like, you know, there's the typical mirrors that people know of. And people might be like, dude, this isn't a mirror because there's things that interact like with you through it. You know what I mean? And a mirror is something which doesn't on the wall. But it's almost like there's some collapse of the maze between the two, and they're like a different pathway of actually casting a reflection of something. And the silver metallic based mirror in the hallway is just another formulation of this networking system of dialogue and of interaction and communication that has like a transference of feedback. And so I'm just looking into the mirror once again, and it's like I remember just being like so long ago, just sitting and just staring into the mirror, staring into it. And that was it. I just freaking just stared into the mirror and just didn't even move. and just sat there. And it was like, the closer you get to a mirror, this is like something fascinating. You sit there and then you look into your eye, you see the mirror in your eye, and then you see you in the mirror in your eye, and it's just that. Whoa. And it's like, I talk to people and they're like, dude, where are you getting this from? And I'm like, English, man. All I'm on is I'm on English. You know, they're like, bro, give me some of that. I'm like, go pick up a book of America's Greatest Poets, and you'll get a little bit of a taste. Yeah, like life is so funny, and it's like, oh man, so many good conversations, and it's like for some reason the way that life is set up right now, it's like trying to demand this attention that this is the only way that it's important is through these forms of like of connection. But it's like I know in like the depths of my soul that those other forms of communication that I've had with other people about these other topics that I wanted to discuss have been just as important. And it's hard. It's hard to balance all that of like, you know, does any of it really matter or whatever? But it's not really that hard because it's like at the end of the day, it's like performance is all that really matters. You know, it's just like, all right, obviously. So yeah. Anyways, what I was gonna say is that like you have that big league chew and then you got the tobacco chew, but it's like ultimately it's just choose one or the other. One is just anti, but really it's the same thing. The only reason that one has an effect is because you're choosing for the effect, but really ultimately it's the same. Like that root beer ginger ale or the alcohol, it's like it's all there, but you know, you want to choose the hard way, then it's like, yeah, but it's like where my mind's at. It's just like it's no different. You know, so it's like I can handle either one. It's just like whatever. It's all just whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to do right now. Just sit here and look at myself. My streaming program. Oh, look at that blemish. Oh, look at this. Look at this messed up lip. Look at that vein on my forearm. Look at that glint of sheen or oily looking nature of my forehead and my cheeks. The fact that it's like there's this blemish like forming right there and down over here and over here and right there. And it's like, is this really me? Is this really me? Because when I close my eyes and don't see any of this, I still am. It's like the light is trying to describe me. But it's like, do I recognize myself beyond it? You know? Hmm. 1107. I was thinking about how to actually like look for a conversation to have on this. How can I actually like have a conversation with someone? Is there like somewhere I can go that I can like? Growing up, people would just bounce around like chat rooms. It's like no one is coming to my channel. The anime, amazing. Oh, thanks, bro. Didn't see that. Hmm. Oh, it's tough to find anywhere on the internet. It's like kind of like I don't know. I guess even on the early stages of the internet, it's just like, hey, send me a pic. Oh yeah, on this last thing of like the air of man, I forgot one last pronunciation on the for then there is no her. And that's the vas deferens speaking right there, which is then the language of God, because there is no her, because there is no resistance, which means that there is no difference, which means there is no opposition. And if there is no opposition, there's no thing for your thing to gain a pressure from and the pleasure from the pain. But you know. So a good nerd is kind of like a herd. A herd. I don't know. I'm just making all this up. I'm just talking. It's like I don't even care. I don't even care. Y'all know why? Because, like I said, all I need is just a little bit. All I need is just a little bit. You know, it's just like, hey man, just if I just get out there, hey, I'll just start stepping. You know, and it's like I get this little, just this thing in my step. You know, it's just like I don't need nothing. It's like, hey, all these perceptions. Hey man, that's nothing for me. All these flaws. Hey man, that's nothing for me because I'm beyond all this. You know what I mean? It's like people talk about this age, this era, you know? It's like, hey man, this is why I can't have any of it. It's why I can't have any of it. And it's why I've never been able to have any of it. Because that day that I told you about where I looked inside that mirror, you know what I mean? And it's like I looked in there and I saw all of this. And it was like, yeah, I can never have any of this, you know, because you know, I talk about these kids and the birthing of this war between two factions, and ultimately they're just the ids and the egos they are just trying to collect off the moaning from the two sides clashing with each other. And so I say I see all these things, and it's like maybe they're nothing, but at the same point in time, uh, it's still there for me, you know. And then I'm like, okay, well, ultimately there is no age, anyways. And then so I can't have these things that say that I am this because I've seen otherwise. And it's like the trickery of this mirage of the bib, the Bible, you know what I mean? That's trying to put me in terms of this game. And I'm like Romulus trying to escape the dream of the rim of Remus and going up and above and beyond, and I sit there and I wake up and I just play. And I sit there and just deal with every scenario based upon um, whatever whatever I think is harmonious for the interaction. Because I could just go off anytime, you know? And it's nothing to me. Because of where I just came from a second ago in the dream. And I still have that on my mind. And it's like, whoa, I just came from this place. But, you know, I'm going to wake up and take what it is that has been given to me here and play with what is here, you know? Because I can sit here and say that while these things say they're younger or older from tomorrow, today, yesterday, it's like not when it's all collapsed, you know? And so, I can't have any of it. Never have, never will. I know that. All I do is just dream. And I have great dreams. Pretty great. Pretty damn great. There's still more that I want to say about the younger. How are these things younger than me? What does that even mean to be younger than me? That I have to take responsibility. I know the answer, but I feel as though I cannot say it. All they are is the ids of another's ego. They are the tempests. For when the legs open of the ego, the ids gain what the ego's ids gain. The ids are the kids, those little ones. Because in the place of the birth and the retainer of all things, nothing is either older or younger. Because everything did reside in the potential of a single point, which means that from this point, the potential of everything to be means that nothing really is more or less than anything else. And so by that actual understanding that this single point of this thing, which is just imagined within that single point, so that this single point can imagine, means that nothing is either younger or older than anything, because everything still actually resides within that single point. And while that single point didn't even expand, all this still is, because the potential for all this was there. And since all of this is a product of that point, it means that even in this point, nothing is out of that point. And all of these things which are demanding of me are just the points trying to just have a dream. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I just gotta play the game. I just gotta play the damn game. Because the game will become a nightmare if you do not fucking play by the damn rules. Then it's open BattleNet. This is no longer fucking closed BattleNet. If you don't play by the rules, man, then it's open BattleNet, and everyone's everyone's hacking, dog. Everyone's got their fucking swords stacked with 20,000 runes that when you hover over the shit, it goes off the screen. And then there's people that, who the fuck knows what they do. It's just like going to the store and you can choose to fucking die, because obviously, since we're all from the same point, the point itself can choose to have there be no point and for the point to just lose every time. So yeah, in my recognition of that, I can go and fucking choose to just have no point and just have the things that are hacking be so overwhelming that the hacking is beyond comprehension, because the point itself is being made that there is no point, and that it can be so overwhelming that the point itself just says there is no point. It's like the Dole rune, you know what I mean? And it's just like, fuck, dog. You know? And really, I don't know why I've been making that damn horse sound so much lately. I feel like I've been making that a lot lately. That lip, whatever. lip thingy. Well, at least I write all these parameters. It's just like, whatever, let me just do my thing. If I can write the best code, then let it be. But I can't even fucking play. Yeah? It's like when I read that book of freaking Caesar warring against Sextus, and it's like his right to Rome, but Sextus is playing the game of like the Greeks almost in the Antikythera, where it's like they have like this mechanism of revolutions to create a resistance, and that's like the old Olympics. Oh, but since Caesar was like warring against Sextus for there to be no resistance to the empire, but that means that there's no sex because there's no friction because everything is one under the sun. You know what's funny? It's like why would anybody be weirded out about doing anything over the internet or anything like that that they just don't do naked in like their bathroom? That's like the type of thoughts that I have. It's like really, it's like my thought is just so down there. It's like ever since I even just had the thought, like I remember just like walking around, and I've been having this other story that I've been wanting to write about this lion. It's just like just freaking walks around, and it's like, oh man, how can I put this? It like doesn't even know that it's just in continual like death. All right, but then it like when it like returns back to like its state of awareness, then it doesn't. Then it's like perceived as alive. But it's like walking around in this like state of continual death, which allows it to just sit there and like be a movement of perception as it just like roams and wanders. And then it like, man, it's like such a, it's like I can see it. It's just describing it. It's like having something in picture form and really trying to lay it out in words. because I can see this young lion cub like walking around, and I know exactly what I'm trying to talk about. Where just like so in the moment that it just feeds off of like everything around it. And then what brings its awareness back? What brings its awareness back? I just walk around sad every day, but it's like the greatest feeling. It's weird. It's like just like so sad for like everything and everyone. So it's like I try to like play that game, but then take away and strip down like all of it at the same point in time because I just see how sad it is, and like I just see how many things become broken. And like my nose looks super weird right now. Really love this shirt. Great shirt. Great shorts. Great oh. Yep. Just like this is what I am. You know? This is what I am. It's like people tell me, well, you could be doing this other stuff, and I'm just like, you don't even know. Uh, well, this is a little bit better than a mirror though, because it's like, ooh, I don't go and just talk to a mirror. It's like I don't know. I heard Albert Einstein said once that smart people talk to themselves. Maybe he was like trying to like rationalize that circle that I was talking about before because he understood like in the great scheme of things that like uh you're like talking to air and like the sun and all this other stuff, but because he was like trying to play that rational box game of like Da Vinci, uh you know, and like it's that same kind of game portrayed in the picture of the ancient Egyptians where it's like they have this battle between space and the uniformity or the singularity, right? And so like Albert says that just as a way to like justify while still maintaining like reason and not trying to like break that line, you know, where it's like soliloquy itself is like sent up, but at the same point in time, he doesn't want to look like he's broken that line or whatever, you know. So he like uses just escapes of like art form and imagination, you know, and as the I guess the thespian or the theater arts major says, it's soliloquy, or you know, other people say it's just an expression of whatever else, and then it's like we have these characters that are around us that enforce kind of this chaotic mess, so that it's like there can be meaning by there being no associative meaning within all these things, so that it's a cloud, and through this cloud then we can actually be able to not formulate perfect causation, but it's like ultimately for them to even work there still has to be that, and so then you see that and then you're just like, well shit, I guess it's all over. Anyways, I don't know what I'm going for here now. I don't know what I was ever going for here. Oh man. Where will this story go? Like I am up to just letting it just go wherever. It's just like I feel like I'm so at peace with like any form of ending with this story that truly nothing scares me of wherever it will go. But it's like obviously there is some emotional connection with it, because there's still fear associated with harm to it, and so it's like there's some attachment to it somewhere with something. Don't know what it is, but it's like I'm so comfortable with like literally no matter what end it is that comes to like this story. uh I really don't care, like even if it's just rotting somewhere until like literally it just fades or something like that. And it sounds sad, but it's like it's again it's like that addiction to like the power of sadness, where it's like I just feel these like tears welling up, and it's like I have tattoos on my face of these tears. Obviously not or whatever, but then I just manifest all that straight up like punishment as it were into like um some form, and it's probably not even anything, at least to anybody else, but it's like in this state of actually going through that, it's just like, well, when I piece things together, then it's just like, you know, but it's probably not even anything. It's like, yeah, I can have amazing dreams, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh yeah, it's pretty dope. And then I wake up and it's just like, okay, oh, I guess that's over. And then it's just like I'm continuing with all of this, but then I'm asked to like be around people that I can't even like. Obviously, I'm still existing. Okay. Yeah, obviously. but at the same point in time, it's like this is where I am, but I'm like in and around, my existence is one that it's just like what the hell, you know? It's just like what the hell, because it's like this is where I am, as you can tell, but obviously what the hell is this even? And why is this even? And why am I like this and then everything else like that? Like I said, I really don't care. It's just like I could just like whatever happens, happens. But I don't know, I've written so much that it's like I can't help but think about all of it, and then every day I just wake up and just do my best to kind of follow all those writings. All of them. Every single step is accounted for by the characters on the papers. Every word takes into consideration of, according to my own light, the reflection of their shadow, and so thereby that way I move. And then I do it all over again, and sometimes I go and lay down and feel myself in a vastly different place for a moment, though it was a lifetime. And then I come from this place, and I say, this is where I am, this is what has happened, you tell me it is so, this is obviously what this place is telling me is so, and so I go. And that is what I am, and that is what I do. And I've been doing this for as long as I can remember. Yes. Huh. You know, I have stimulating conversations. I shouldn't say that there is no stimulation. I see beauty and my heart is ripped out and blood and ripped asunder. Every day. It is crushed. Every day it is crushed and crumbled. And it is thrown in the blender and juiced and drinking by the vampires that feed off of my soul. Oh, but I cannot be with one of them. Cannot. It is such sorrow. It is such sadness. It is such pain. But I'm pro pain. I'm pro sorrow. And I burn up with the light of this pain. Take me to Spain. I'll go there and burn up in the sun for 1,000 eons. I'm waiting for someone to come and knock on my door and be like, shut the hell up, dude. Oh, man. Yeah. I feel like this eye is like more closed than my other eye. Why is that? Why is it doing this? Stop. Stop it. Pluck out my eye. Maybe my face is just trying to balance itself out. It's like it's got this right here. So then it's like some woo, like curving up that way or something like that. So it's like trying to like balance itself out. I don't know. I do not know. I do not care to know. I do not care. But what is this air that I breathe? Is it even air? What is air or water? Water's fresh? Polluted? But I see the sweat is sweet. And in saying that the sweat is sweet is the dirt meat. But I see that there is a line that I should not cross. Because in so doing, it's like there's a leak inside the internal networks of the bowels that is coming forth and saying that this is not for that. Because when you cross that line, then there is an internal disorder of the fluids and the disconnection between the mechanisms. And it is like there is a leak within the bowels that is sewage spilling out into what is supposed to be clean. But for me, just as though I reiterated that thing on time, in which what is younger or older, or what is this place in space, or the future or the past? For I can wear something that looks futuristic in the past, but in the future can I not wear something that looks like it's from the past? And so I then say these things, and I smell these things of disgust, and I feel sweaty, but ultimately it's sweet. But it's dirty. But what is meat? Oh shit. Eh. Fuck it. Should I have ended it right there? Should I end it on a fuck it? Should I have stopped this recording streaming on a fuck it? I want what I cannot have. And I have what I do not want, but ultimately I have everything I want. It is all here. The poor man revered. For nothing is asked of the poor man, so what does the poor man have but everything? For he is free, right? So what does the other man have that so many say has all that is? But nothing. For he has become so dark and disheveled by his state of possession that he is possessed and unable to move. But I will free this man. I will free him. I will show him. I will show him the movement from the point. I will show him the movement from that point I spoke of. That there is no movement from which we all are from. But I will move from it. Because I know how to move. I know how to move from that point. But ultimately no one can move from that point who isn't willing to move from that point because they are not willing to make a mistake. And they fight against the movement. Even though they say they wish to move, they block their own movement, block their own shot, because they are internally trying to go there, but then externally they fight against the things that will take them there, not knowing that that's where I want to go. That's what I say. I say I want to go there. But then you say that, and then you do these things which go against that. So, just go there. And be like air, and always air. It's my fault, it's my mistake. Sorry, my bad. Oh, heavens me. I really just, I messed up big time, you know? It's just, hey, I'm sorry. But I'll get back to work, yeah, because I know that it takes work to get there. It takes work to get there, but, you know, I know that if I'm trying to move, then I must allow movement. And a movement of things must mean that I must say that I have made a mistake, because if I say that there was no mistake, why would I rip things up and tear them and put them over there and put something else where that thing was? Right? But then if I am so airy and light, What do I have? What do I have? I have nothing, and I cannot go there either, because then there is nothing. There is nothing as much as nothing is. And so I must find this place where I have no mistakes, but I can make a mistake, so I can move? Yes. Yes, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. I definitely know what I'm talking about. It's all here. This is it. This is the lesson, folks. This is the lesson here. It's just like, what is the great playcast see in this role? What I will soliloquy. People will pray a soliloquy. I will speak to the camera soliloquy. What is the role of this great play that I play in which I've never been a part of a play, but ultimately I'm in one? What am I playing at? What am I getting at? What is this play getting at? I am not a part of no play. I read from no script. There is no scripture for me. This is all off of a prompting. The prompting of what comes from where? What is the play that I play, and what part do I play in this play? And what part does this play play in the plays of plays? And why am I being kept in this damn role? I don't even know what my role is. I'm just making all this shit up. But obviously, there's something about it. Because it's still fucking going on. It's like the television is like this network of the mind, like, oh man, there's so many good things I just wrote, and it's just like, fuck, I have so much of this shit that I come across every single day. I just throw it up in some damn attic, crumple up, and be like, fuck, this is great. Well, shit, I gotta do shit. It's like it's like, oh man, plugged in on the medicine drop, seeing the feed, and it's like, but for me, I fucking move through a place that people behind the screen just like, fuck. And the errors that I come across, it's just like, and it's like I have a way, obviously, of fucking it, fucking figuring it out, and obviously making it all work. But I know, just based upon like how I have this feeling associated with it, it's just like, fuck. Where it's like, or when other people are trying to like move, it's like, obviously. Screen has gone before them or whatever. I mean, I just gotta play the damn game. Otherwise, I will not be able to play. I'll be playing a really fucking hard damn game. Really hard. Almost 12. It's been a pretty good stream. I feel pretty relaxed. I feel pretty relaxed about it. I feel like there's been some intensity to it. Obviously, there's been moments of free range. You know, my eyes are here. I'm not pushing my boundaries with the camera, but I'm relaxing into it, and I feel a connection with it. But I know what will fray the edges. I know what will fray the edges and dishevel the picture. So I'm close to that. But obviously I'm not doing it. Oh man, I really gotta go to bed. But for whatever reason, I don't want to. I just want to keep sitting here and talking. This is like the closest thing I've ever had to pillow talk. Me sitting here watching myself on my fucking own computer monitor, just soliloquizing. Soliloquizing? I don't know. I'm making it all up as I go. I got this thought of like going and then of like collapsing and then it's like the reformation. But it's like new. But it's not. It's like bringing things to a place. On a different crown, but anyway. What's up? Yeah, I'm a skateboarder. Yeah, I I took a bit. Yeah, I beefed it once, and yeah, I got some. See, I got this sticker that kind of got shaved off right here, and some of my helmet actually got shaved off. Yeah, from I did this. Oh man, I could tell, dude. I could tell you about it, but I mean, you want to hear about it? It's kind of a story, bro. I don't know what you gotta do. Yeah, I got all these different stickers on this helmet because helmets are for weenies. Helmets are for fucking weenies, you know. And so I put a bunch of stickers on mine, so it's not like I'm a weenie, you know. Because if you wear a fucking helmet, it means you're scared of shit. You're scared of falling, and that. But the guy who's like good on his feet, right? Um, he's not gonna fall or whatever, and so he doesn't even wear a helmet because that's the confidence. That's the confidence factor, you know, and so when you put on the helmet, it's like you're saying that you're actually not even good on your feet, you know. But I mean, I kind of just like putting stickers on mine. It's like I got some stickers like this one. It's like trap, but it's like the house is a trap. you know, it's like when you're in the house, you're trapped because you gotta there's shit to do in the house. You gotta take out the trash, make your bed, do your laundry. It's just like fuck, this ain't no fun. You know what I mean? I gotta get the fuck out of here.
But even writing's hard, you know, and it's like you get out there and there's a lot of people and shit, and then all of a sudden this city's a fucking trap, man. And it's like, oh shit, there's these cops and there's other fucking people out here, and all of a sudden there's all these rules, and then I just feel like fuck. It's like I was trying to write on the walls of my fucking room, but then I got told that that fucking room's not even mine, man. And then it's like I go out in the city and it's like fuck. I still feel like I don't have shit, you know? And so I want to just graffiti the whole fucking place. I want to fucking graffiti the fucking street, man. All the way up to the signs and every building and then fucking up the mountain. I want to put graffiti all the way up from the fucking streets up to the mountains. And then will it still be a fucking trap? I don't know, man. I don't know. And it's like, yeah, well, maybe the aliens will see when the whole place is fucking graffitied, and then I'll fucking be able to spread up some stardust graffiti up there, and fucking just be like shit, and people will be like, look at that galaxy, man, it looks like a giraffe or something, and I fucking shit, that was me. I fucking just did that shit. Oh man, you know. But yeah, so this is my helmet, and you want to know what this is? That's from these people. People say they're friends. I mean, yeah, they're my friends. You know, they're good to me. Like I grew up with them. You know, but it's like they fucked my shit up, man. It was like one day I just was like, hey, I'm I'm just gonna go over here. I'll leave my stuff. Come back, my shit is fucked up, dog. It's like just straight up fucked up. They're like, Austin, you got this nice shit. I was like, shit, guys. I'm a little guy here. I'm just a little guy here. You're the big guys. I know this. I know that you're the big guys. Okay? My shit got fucked up by the big guys. This wasn't for me writing. This wasn't for me writing. I didn't get that from when I was right. I didn't do no trick. I never did a trick. I can't even ride. It's just a helmet with stickers on it. So I'm a fucking weenie. You know, it's just I don't wanna say that I am a weenie. So I put them on there and it's hey, you got that on there. What'd you do? What kind of tricks you do? My friends stole my shit and they went down a hill fast on my shit and used my helmet as a fucking brake pad, man. That's that's what happened. Yeah, that is what happened actually. They stole my shit, fucking went down a fucking steep ass thing and put my helmet to the fucking ground to slow themselves down. And I come back and my shit's all fucked up. Those are my friends. Those are my fucking friends. They're still my friends. They're still my friends. And they still fuck me up. Pretty good. Whenever I fucking see them, they definitely don't hold back any of their shit. Because they're fuckers. They're straight up fuckers. So I don't know. I just fucking walk around and I'm just like, oh. I don't know. I feel like no one does shit anymore. I'm just like, when I was a fucking kid. Oh, great. I'm starting to say this shit. What the fuck? I didn't even know I was there, dude. When I was a fucking kid, we fucking filled up socks with tennis balls and gasolines and threw that shit at each other. And fucking walked around the neighborhood with AKs and got fucking pulled over by sawed off shotguns. When I was a fucking kid. Holy shit.
Kids nowadays, they don't do shit. I wonder why the fuck I am the way I am. Hey man, fucking get some good ass grades. You can get a chick, dog, and make some money. Money is that chick. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what greater motivator is there than that snake? With those lines going through it to straighten out the swirl. You know, it's that green screen. And so, all right, I'll just get into my fucking studies and get an A or whatever. An A, an opening. Who the fuck knows what it is? I don't know. TP. Fuck. Steepy, steep mountain. The Indians. What is a mountain? What a conglomeration of action. And I'm just like, oh fuck. I'll get some good ass grades. Okay. Here's knowledge. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Now, figure out your own question, I guess. Alright. Well, here's my fucking answer. This video. And my fucking question. Okay. Oh! What's up? I'm making up my own languages lately, all based purely off of did a video on it a little bit ago. I don't know, I might do it again. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know, man. Just feel my heart being like stretched out and just beating. It's like it can never be satisfied. It's just I just love so much. But loves nothing more than anything. Loves none of it. Doesn't want any of it. Gives me a life and all of it. Do not want to live it. What if I actually saw like money from a different perception and was like in the king in the castle and there wasn't this exchange of currency and it was just like pleasure of sex and there was like that pathway of like currency within the home or something, but it's like I'm seeing things from this other perception, you know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I have crazy dreams. And by crazy I mean like laying on my bed and then feeling myself sink through my mattress and then through the ribs of my bed and then through my carpet and then through the crust of the earth and then through the particles of particles and then into the center of all things, and then I'm just like walking around in this like space of like such immense like heat and like light and pressure that it's like sitting there and just having like your eyes are like the sun or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm having fun every day though. I really am. Quite a lot of fun every day. Because honestly, this is just me always. I feel like it's like really. I feel like I can do anything. Like forever, eternally. I feel like I can do this eternally. Like honestly, there is no hell that I will not sit there when I'm in it and just like be so pleased by it and just like I love it, you know? And I feel like I could just do this. I feel like I've been doing this. I feel like I've been doing this forever. For so long and just playing all these worlds. And yes. It's become a thing that I do, I guess. Went and built a shelter in the woods the other day. Right? I got a story I can fucking tell. Haven't told anybody. I fucking was in this church shit. My family. And they're all doing, honestly, God knows what they're doing. Okay? But I'm just like, I'm in this place. I'm gonna try and like obviously have myself represented here in a light in which I actually feel like is me. Because I don't fucking read from the script. I write shit. Right? And I act shit. And I read shit. I read from a script. Shit. Shit. Anyways, I was like, fuck. I'm gonna go walk up into these damn mountains. Went up there and I was like, people are like, you gotta look at these skeletons of shit out in the fucking desert. And I was like, pay off your debt, pay off your debt, pay off the daughter. And I was like, doing all that shit. And I was like looking at these skulls and I'm just like sitting up there. And like when no one's around, you just like culminate these like formulations of power. Sit there and just like look at things in like a way in which it's just like you're truly trying to understand everything and its culmination up until it's coming before you at this point. And you're like manifesting your understanding all of this with your position towards it. So I'm like up there in these damn mountains, fucking gathering up all these skeletons and flowers and braiding a bunch of shit. Braiding all these flowers into, actually you can see that up on that light hanging from the door back there. Braided all that shit. Fucking braided some juniper branches into some skeleton skulls and all this other stuff. Found some bracelet that I like did some wordplay with. Lucky me. Leukemia. Look me up. I'm fucking lucky. Which I was like sitting there, I was like, fuck, I've written about all this shit before. It's just like, man, you're fucking like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to write on this again. Because you've already like written something so profound on it. Or at least you think it is. You know? And so I'm just like, fuck, I don't need to do this. But I know that every single step when I am like up there trying to like ascend to like some sort of feeling, that I just need to like take every single grain of grain of sand that I can and use it towards an end of actually culminating the experience into something. So it's just like, all right, I'll fucking write on this shit again. Even though it's like, I know that what I'm writing on now, I wrote on better once before, and whatever. Get up there, decorate all the skeletons and shit. Come walk back and see two fucking snakes in the fucking road. And it's just like, I've been seeing a lot of shit like that. It's like, they're fucking sitting there. I'm just like, fucking go and wrestle these damn snakes. I'm just like sitting there fucking wrestling these big ass fucking snakes. Fuck. Fucking seeing people off in the distance, seeing these fucking church shits off in the distance. Loud as fuck, echoing through the whole valley, and I'm up there fucking wrestling snakes up in the wilderness. And just fucking have this shit lashing its fucking tails all over me. And then honestly, it's just like, since I've like written on Confucius and all this stuff lately, I'm just like trying to like gain some new sense of things. And so I'm overcoming any form of brutality or harmful interaction with anything through these concepts of trying to find a new sensation of things, while trying to convey this message to the things I'm interacting with, that really that is my only intent and purpose. My intent and purpose is nothing of a nature of a face that I don't want to see on my face. Okay, I'm just playing a game. Boro. I've gone through everything. I'm bored as fuck. And so let's play a new game. There's a shitload of things. There's a shitload of you guys. Let's just let the extension of you coming to this extension of me at this point in time be an interaction that leads to a dramatic shift in scenery where the sign says dead end, but you sit there and you look out, and it's a place that you like to visit because of the dramatic shift, which is death or whatever. You know, I'm fucking wrestling these fucking snakes. Fuck. And seeing these fucking church houses down below me, singing their songs, and I'm like going and interacting with other animals and like gauging the signs of like what they mean on the horizon and to come, and catching them. Sataya! And just fucking overcoming any sense of fear, just putting my fucking hand to the ground and whistling to the sky. And just harmonizing. And then growling, and then fucking going up the damn mountain. And then taking care of everything, and then trying to find that piece of interaction where I walk this very, very thin tightrope to be able to continue on this line from those points of interaction, so that they can be ones which aren't so bitter. But again, the sweat is sweet, but I want them to be something of longevity. And so I gauge all my surroundings, understand the words and the appearances that should be, you know, one that I should interact with them with. And lo and behold, if I'm here for Halloween, there's some really good decorations I can use to make this fucking place fucking Hallowed Eve for sure. Cause it's like, and I fucking went out there and out there. And then I fucking came back and it was just like, I had a sense. It was a fucking sense that there was something amiss, and I just fucking felt the fucking tension of the air, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Just, yep, right there. There it was. Fucking another big ass snake. Fucking had to go and growl my shit at this one. big ass snakes like I've never seen before around these parts. That look like the ones that I wrestled up in the mountains like a couple days before. I just fucking just caught that shit. I was like, alright. I guess this is another one. This is a fucking another fucking one. Oh fucking yo. Oh, alright. You wanna fucking throw me some shit? I'll fucking catch that shit. It doesn't matter what the fucking is. I'll fucking transform it into something. Make something out of it. And really formulate a relation with things. Because, like I said, I see such sadness. And I know that I have such great respect. Because I've grab all of this and it's all just tears. Just let it just fall through my fingers. And then I like feel myself interacting with these things from a different perspective where I'm in communication with them later on down the line, or I've already had like the interaction before and now I'm seeing the culmination of the film real, and then it's like I'm sitting there watching it and playing it over, and then it's just like, but at the same point in time it's like I'm dealing with the interaction while the previous interaction was going on. And I just fucking just, why not kite chite? Fucking just, kung fu my fucking way through that shit with my fucking whatever the fuck I can use and just do it. And honestly, feel pretty solid about it. Man, oh, you know, feel pretty good about it. So, yeah. 2 hours of whatever the fuck this